Okay, so there's a school, and by the way, the school is particularly interesting for me because while we have talked about worker co-ops in manufacturing and service industries, we get quite a bit of mail here from people who work in various kinds of nonprofits, in government agencies, and in schools at all levels, from nursery school on up through the university, asking whether this interesting conversation about worker co-ops is applicable to them too. So I think for that part of the audience, it'll be particularly interesting to hear you tell us a little bit about why you and your colleagues made the decision, what you're after, what the motivation is to go through this kind of transition. So tell us a little bit about it.
So the Conway School is, as you said, very small. And at a certain point about 2.5 years ago, I think we had reached the point where we felt that that traditional school structure of the board of trustees, the executive director, that structure wasn't quite serving our needs as employees, and we felt that maybe it wasn't serving the best interests of the school as well. There were voices that weren't being included in that decision-making process. There wasn't a lot of communication between the employees and the board. And so there was a change in leadership, and initially I think the board felt, well, of course now we do a national search for a new executive director, a CEO type, a charismatic leader who's going to come in and be able to run the school. And for the employees, we knew each other, we knew what we were capable of, a great bunch of people who knew the school really well. And the idea of bringing in a total stranger didn't make sense to us. So we proposed to the board, let us run the school. We, at that moment, actually in the day-to-day running of the school, we were doing it. We were looking at the budgets.
Because the prior person was gone?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So at that moment, a board of trustees of a school, and it's a volunteer board. They're not paid. They're not compensated. They all have other jobs. And their job really shouldn't be to get involved in the day-to-day running of a school. It should be oversight and seeing fiduciary responsibility, making sure the budgets are working and the school's on course. But the day-to-day running of a school, it shouldn't be done by the board. So, and we knew what to do. So we needed to hire instructors, we need to set compensation levels, we needed to make sure we had books in the library, all the things that you have to do day to day. Make sure the electric bill is paid, and really get into the budget, which is a big part of what we were doing. And so we were the ones who could do that, and so we did do that. And over time, we were able to work with the board to make that an actual structure. Given that we would say, well, let's try it for 6 months, and we'll make adjustments as we go, and we'll formally evaluate it at 6 months and 12 months, and actually vote and see if we want to continue doing this. And that's how it evolved.